All right. Thanks everyone again for the time this morning and for giving us a couple minutes so that we could work through the additional people that were signing up as the presentation started. You're here hopefully for a marketing team of one. Again, we're going to go into the exact procedures that we take for lead gen campaigns for our clients that range from search engine optimization targets to social media management. And we're going to outline a framework. Hopefully, the intent is whether you're an owner operator, whether you're a marketing team of one, or whether you're just looking to incorporate marketing activities into your day-to-day, that you'll then have a successful framework. What I like to say is the ingredients for every cake is the same. Whether you're going to have a carrot cake, a double chocolate lava cake, or another variety is going to depend on the business that you're running and your specific goals. Definitely good morning. What qualifies me to be the presenter today? I've run JRS Marketing Communications, a boutique digital agency for going on 20 years now. And we've worked in finance, wellness, healthcare, hospitality, association, and we've implemented these strategies in some form or fashion for all of those clients to varying degrees of success. Again, everyone's goals are unique to their industry, and we try and not only satisfy the goals that the client has expressed, but we also want to incorporate our knowledge into those campaigns to make them as successful as possible. If you haven't muted yourself for the presentation, we're getting a little bit of background noise. Unless you have a question, please mute yourself. And as these are more successful when they're conversational, you can unmute at any time and jump in with a question. If these are conversational, again, we get everyone's questions answered, and a lot of times some topics are revealed by those questions and we get to dig into some specifics. So I'm happy to do that. My goal for your time this morning is that you leave with at least one takeaway that you'll be able to incorporate into your business today, and that you'll leave feeling that this was time well spent. So please, definitely. Mindy, are you able to mute? Yeah. Okay. So welcome to everyone. You're here because you've been serving as the graphic designer, copywriter, web developer, project manager, admin, etc. You're doing it all yourself. You know, we're going to ask the question today, why is that? And talk about different paths that we can make for you to ease the burden and ultimately be more successful with your marketing campaigns. Just as an outline of what we're going to cover today, you know, overall, our grand strategy or philosophy, and then we're going to start with strategy as always, and whether the goal is to increase web traffic, increase social media audience, increase trackable leads, or improve sales conversion rates. These are the things that we can incorporate with the tactics that we're going to lay out before you today. And then we're going to cover very briefly the software that we use to do that. Starting with WordPress, website should be at the hub of any marketing strategy, and then measurement in the form of Google Analytics. We'll touch on the advancement of GA4, the tool that will be exclusively available beginning in July, and then cover some social media tactics, look at some press release distribution via Cision, and then how we're tracking the search engine growth and expansion through a tool called SEMrush. We'll mention a couple others. And then always included in any of our campaigns is the e-notice tool. So are you sending a email to your clients on a frequency basis? What type of content are you including? Is that activity being measured successfully? So oftentimes as small business owners, myself included, we are trying to be all things to all people. And oftentimes we're not gaining any ground with our marketing effort. We're not being remembered as someone who does a specific product, service, or brand representation. And that's troublesome because, as we all know, that being able to sorry guys, we're still getting some background here. All right, that should be resolved. And if we're not climbing the ladder for a particular search term, if we're not participating in specific groups for social media, if we don't have a goal or an outline for our content marketing strategy, then how are we going to measure whether or not our activities are being successful? So I share a resource down here below, and we'll follow up with a link to the recording as well as a link to the slide share. And then this is a project strategy map link that's a 2-page fillable PDF. It's a worksheet that you can go in and identify the consistent use of name, address, and phone, which again is a ranking factor for search engine optimization. We can talk about the keywords and research that you're doing to understand those keywords, and then content that you'll be sharing around those products or services you're advocating for. If you don't start with an appropriate strategy, then your measurements aren't going to align to that strategy, and you're not going to understand whether you're making progress or not. And ultimately, it takes time. It doesn't happen overnight, and to be able to track some of the things that we'll cover in our measurement piece will give you insight into the performance of your campaign. So maybe a quick show of hands. I know not everybody's on video, but how many of us have attempted to post on social media? Maybe we've thrown some money at boosting campaigns, and we haven't really seen success. It's not uncommon. The key component to success in social media, and increasing web traffic is consistency. It's the key to all marketing activities, really. Frequency, reach, and duration is what's taught in any Marketing 101 basic introductory course. And that's going to be the key indicator of success for any of your campaigns, regardless of the media that you use, regardless of the spend. Was the message distributed frequently enough to reach the largest amount of people? And did they see it enough times over a period of time to change their behavior, whether that's phone, whether that's form fill, whether that's purchase? These are the basics of consistent posting, and being able to backlink to your website is a great strategy, whether it's a product, an article, or a video posted on your site. So regular content creation schedule is, again, going to lead to that increased web traffic. Creating content and distributing it to your influencer community, your local media, potential blogs regarding your service industry, and then continuing that outreach digitally, not only to the different media sources, but also the individual PR contacts and influencers. And then backlink and referral traffic. Oftentimes, user behavior doesn't show itself in someone landing on your homepage. Then they go to your about page. Then they go to a product or service page. Then they contact you. Oftentimes, it's somebody cited you in an article, or you authored an article, and linked back to your website. They landed on your blog. Now they want to learn more. Now they go into a product page. Maybe then they want to know about you. So those navigation points and traffic counts are all measured in Google Analytics. This image here is a universal analytics screenshot. And again, the analytics environment will be changing, but still a Google property that will measure, instead of sessions, we'll be looking at events. And as you can see for this representative client here, 2023 in blue, saw a significant increase over their December 2022 numbers after year-over-year tracking was installed and due to these particular behaviors. A lot of general reference points are brought up in these presentations. So if you have specific questions, please don't hesitate to ask. Again, so in order to increase web traffic, you're going to need a consistent posting strategy. There's going to need to be regular content creation. Media distribution is one of those tactics to further the reach of the content, and then getting backlinks. And those backlinks could be everything from, as a small business owner, if you join the Chamber of Commerce or Small Business Development Center and you get a profile page there, sharing your website on those pages to drive traffic back to your website. And if it's 1, 2, 3 visits a week, the more of those profiles that you populate, the more web traffic that you'll be driving. So each individual step leads to that increased web traffic. I referenced a little bit earlier in terms of we've all dabbled, we've all tried to make a couple posts. They haven't gone viral. We've thrown some money at boosting posts, but nothing real consistent. That is going to be the key, not only to driving web traffic, but over time, building the audience that you have on social. In a commercial fashion, we post across the same content across 4 channels, which isn't best authentic audience building. It's not best practice for authentic audience building. And what I mean by that is you should have a unique voice on Instagram, LinkedIn, Facebook, TikTok, etc. But until we know where the largest audience is for most small business owners, it makes sense to test and put that information out, maybe gauge what the unique voice of your business should be on each of those channels, and then develop a separate communication strategy for each of those. But as a marketing team of one, we don't have a team of people to evaluate those things. It's best to get information up on a consistent basis. And that information, again, could be anything about your business put in the form of video, infographic, article, maybe it's a service attribute or advocacy that is benefiting the consumer for the services that you offer. As you start to develop more content, as you start to have data to analyze from the individual social media, you can look at peak time posting and when those posts are getting the highest engagement. And maybe for your business, it's Monday morning as people are going into work, drinking their coffee at their desk before they get started. Maybe it's Saturday morning. Maybe it's they're disconnected from work. They're starting their day reading some articles and they dig into your content. The data is there and available on all social media. So in order to have a regular posting consistency, a regular graphic creation or article creation system, and then to understand and analyze the data of that, again, as a team of one is a big ask. But if you time block and understand when you're tackling those different things, whether it's quarterly or semi-annually, then you can make shifts to, if it's one day of posting, one day of content generation, every 3rd month you dig into the analytics. What's challenging for a lot of folks, but also eliminates some of the production lead time, is going live. Vertical content, whether you're like me and you can't stand to hear your recorded voice, or whether you're just uncomfortable speaking in public or uncomfortable on camera, it's a big challenge. But now you don't need a production team. Now you don't need a half-day shoot. What you need is a written list of talking points and an arm's reach of your iPhone. And from there, with good lighting and clear, concise verbiage, you can get your message out there. And what we're seeing is the personal, authentic content representative of brands or small businesses or individual service packages is outperforming just about everything at this point. So, 10x your marketing, go live, vertical content. That's the kind of easily implemented thought of the day. And again, if you can implement that consistently, maybe every Monday you reflect on your industry, put it on a story, put it on a reel, so see what performs better. And you want to be solving problems with any of the content. And again, whether you're taking a FAQ or taking a live post from a customer, you want to be able to document that and then engage and interact in groups with that content and share. Come as a just like you would at a networking event. Don't come with your hand out looking for business. Come and add value to people in their day-to-day where they're at on a daily basis. And with those steps and tactics, you'll start to see your social media audience increasing. And then if there's one that's performing better than the others, you can eliminate posting on the others or decrease the frequency and start to tailor and shape your message for that particular social audience. Okay, so you'll get web analytics through Google. You'll get social analytics through the individual media itself, the Facebooks, the TikToks, the Instagrams, and or Hootsuite, which we'll cover later. But how do we track, leads, conversions, form fills, phone calls, etc.? That's where we're going to start steering the conversation again, which all conversation on analytics will be steered to in July of this year, is Google Analytics 4. Universal Analytics, which is installed on most websites now. We've been tracking since last year in June. We installed Google Analytics, so we'll have year-over-year tracking data. If you haven't done that, or if you don't follow your existing Universal Analytics data, start now with Google Analytics 4 and just measure moving forward. But again, every expense coming out of your small business should be measured. And you have expense tied to a domain, tied to a website, hosting and maintenance. Hopefully you have content creation or graphics being created. But again, you want to be able to measure that expense and see what's coming from web as a service channel or sales channel. So instead of sessions, which are individual visits and page depth, Google Analytics 4 or GA4 is going to measure events. So did somebody scroll on a page? Did they watch a video? Did they download a file? Did they add to cart? Did they form fill? Those are telling actions, right? Somebody just to land on your website can't really differentiate whether it's bot traffic, whether it's individuals. You can't gauge user intent. With these event-based tracking analytics, we can now tell, hey, they filled out a form. Did I see that form come in? They started the checkout. Why did they leave? Or what percentage of people landing on my checkout are leaving? That may indicate a minor web change on that page or a sign of checkout issues or even product pricing, etc. You can now start to get information and infer based on changes that you can make to impact that. All right, so again, I think we're here because we're stressed. We're teams of one. We're doing it all, and it's not working, right? We're frustrated. That's kind of the title is implied to created to imply frustration, and we want to make sure that you're not being frustrated anymore. So there's a bunch of different ways that you can do that. You can step back, let the fires burn on your desk for a little bit, a week or two, and start to strategize around a master plan. Week 1 of next month, I'm going to work on content creation. Week 2, I'm going to ideate articles and write, all 10 articles or 12 articles for the month. Week 3, we're going to talk about direct mail, email, and text messaging. And then week 4, we're going to edit and implement. We're going to take all those articles. We're going to put them on WordPress blog. We're going to schedule them. We're going to roll out newsletters on a monthly basis so that it's turnkey. At the end of a month, you have a plan. It's going to implement. Now you can work on measurement and analyze. there's always a cost, right? There's no lesson that you get that's free. The investment of time and a focused capacity, again, even if it's 1 week a month for the next 4 months, then you're making progress towards that plan. Otherwise, you're constantly, again, managing those fires. I do it. The shiny thing in my email pops up and captures my attention, and we end up not progressing a plan for a campaign that ultimately should be a success, but isn't due to the variables not being managed successfully. At the very least, any of these recommendations, and again, I stress that these are campaigns or these are initiatives that we implement on behalf of clients. So I stress that because I don't want you to think I'm telling you to do, anything that we're not doing for our clients. And again, the cake always has eggs, flour, and sugar. The recipe is going to be different for your business, but these tactics can be applied to any business and have successfully across wellness, advocacy, hospitality, service, and then even e-commerce. So, what have you tried that's new? Again, if we're frustrated with being a team of one, how have we been actionable about changing that? And then once you answer that question, where do you see yourself? Where do you want to be at the end of this year? Where do you want to be at the end of July, September, December? What do you want to have accomplished? And then laying out the path for that. And again, that's where we go back to the project strategy map. That was the starting piece. That is, again, a 2-page fillable worksheet. I'll share that in the presentation as well as a direct link. And I think that'll be, beneficial to you to answer those questions of where do you see yourself and then how do you get there? So at the kickoff of the presentation, I talked about marketing hasn't really changed that much. That truly is my belief. It is about frequency, reach, and duration. So everywhere I go, whether it's venture capital presentations or judging high school marketing competitions, or just talking with small business owners on a day-to-day basis, everyone thinks, okay, I made a post and nobody came to my event. Why is that? Well, that message didn't have frequency. It probably didn't reach people enough. One post didn't have the duration of that message long enough to be successful. On the left side here, you see this is a marketing funnel: awareness, interest, consideration, intent, evaluation, and purchase. You try and assign levels to each of these and different marketing activities that would align with each. So historically, marketing would get people in the door and sales would take over. Sales would ask the questions or answer the questions. Sales would allay any consumer fear. Sales would convince someone that this was the right product or service, and then sales would manage the purchase. That's changed with digital. It really puts the power of marketing back into the hands of the small business owner. And as you can see on the right, you don't need a big sales team. You need a marketing operation. You can evaluate everything online. You can get pricing, you can get FAQs, you can get reviews, you can get testimonials. Then all you have to do is point and click to buy now. So it's a different process for the user. The power is in the hands of the consumer, and the responsibility is on the business to be able to communicate and provide that information online. So, we see this all the time, and there should be a slate of marketing activities for any campaign, any product, et cetera, that builds someone from being completely unaware of your product or service to then being someone who purchases your product. Then ultimately you reset and hopefully convince that person who's purchased your product to be an advocate and share their experience with someone else, all the while getting more people into the awareness level. Not everybody who sees an ad about your product is going to be interested. Not everybody who's interested is going to consider. That's why these narrow. That's why they call it a funnel, and it gets less and less people as you get down to intent, evaluation, and purchase. But again, it's never just one message. We talk about consistency a lot. It's the same message, different ways, different formats, video, graphics, animated GIFs, illustrations, over a long period of time: frequency, reach, and duration. Okay, so Not a bunch of questions. I hope everybody is there and tuned in. We want to make sure that, again, any questions you have are being answered. So I think as we get beyond kind of the basics of marketing and talk about the specific software that we use, there will be more. And please don't hesitate to unmute yourself and jump in. But we're going to discuss software next. And these are the software that we apply across any engagement. Again, if it's just a simple web design, development, or hosting and maintenance, we're using WordPress. We're installing Google Analytics so that we understand the traffic, where it's coming from, what's being engaged with. Social media, we're going to change slightly the discussion from the individual media themselves to using a tool called Hootsuite for aggregate posting and data. And then we're going to touch further on Cision, SEMrush, and eNotice as well. But this is, again, what we use for small business owners, mid-sized business owners, whether it's 10,000 a month or 10 million a month. All right. Most of the small business owners we talk to have a WordPress site. We have seen Wix, Weebly, some Squarespace, but we primarily build in WordPress. Again, everybody's going to have their unique points that drive them to use the different tool. But WYSIWYG is what you see is what you get. This is a blog post on WordPress. This is a graphic. There's just simple text here. I can edit this. As you see, what you see is what you get, just like WordPress. I can center, left justify, right justify. I can hyperlink. I can blog. I'm sorry, make bold or italics. I can change the font. And then these buttons up here, again, we can add media, forms, all those things. And on the left, you can look, depending upon what WordPress theme you're using, and you can change those out on a click as well. There's always going to be some ripple effects from a design standpoint, but again, I think this is, I know it's the most widely used content management system, and definitely across industry, we use it for our client success as well. All right, so GA4, again, this is a universal analytics screenshot on the overview page here on the top. Universal analytics is migrating over to GA4 as it relates, as of July 1st. Primary difference is GA4 is going to focus on events, as I mentioned, and historically sessions were the key. You could look at users, how many of those users were new, how many sessions, how many times they came back to the site, number of sessions per user, page views, page per session, average session duration, and bounce rate. Those are all great statistics, but aggregate statistics don't tell us about individual user experience. So as you can see under the event model, you can understand who viewed a page, when did they start a session, was it their first visit, and then whether or not they had engagement. And again, just one page of what is, I don't want to say unlimited, but there's a number of different pages that can take you through the progression of a customer, more in line with that funnel model. There is a component of machine learning taken into the data and understanding, again, across device, whether somebody's coming from a mobile phone, a tablet, or a PC, and then being able to collect more data from the website itself, as well as apps and then offline reporting. The reporting and analysis that you can get, again, analysis is typically man-made or manual, and then the reporting comes from different pages and how you set up those transactions, but it's going to be a better tracker of actual customer journey. So mapping out what that looks like and what your funnel looks like for individual clients, because everybody's, if we all have client personas for our ideal customer, someone may hear about it on the radio, someone may hear about it on a Saturday morning sports field. You got to be able to track or market independently to those different personas based on the homework you do for who your ideal client is.
Hey, Joe, quick question on GA4.
Yep.
Are we losing, is there any insight that we are losing in the shift to 4 that we should be aware of?
That's a great question. We haven't looked at it from that perspective. We've kind of just been looking at what's new. I know this overview page is still part of the entry screen, and then you just get deeper tracking throughout the different engagements. But again, it's all manual. So if you don't set up that tracking funnel, then it's not going to give you that information. So you'll still end up with kind of the basics of the tool, which would reflect the current environment in Universal Analytics today. So I know I didn't give you a direct answer, and that's most likely the best I can do at this point. We haven't done side by side in terms of what we lose, so I can't say blanket that we don't lose anything. And again, I think it's going to require more manual effort to set up the conversion tracking and the different the journey mapping that comes apart, especially in e-commerce.
Understood. And I know they may keep things close to the vest until release at any rate, so we may not know until we know.
Yeah, and again, it's out. It has been out beyond the last year. They're just kind of forcing everyone to migrate to it, just like they did with the mobile focus and then the SSL certificates. And it's just kind of the evolution of where the reporting is going. Good question. Thank you. All right, so some of these bullets remain the same. We're just going to bang the drum on consistency. When it comes to social media, there is no greater indicator of success than consistency. At some point, you're going to find what resonates with your clients if you're posting on a regular basis. And then the evolution would be posting more of the content that drives engagement through the data. What we're going to focus on here is the software piece. And this is a screenshot of Hootsuite. If you're not familiar with Hootsuite and you're posting across multiple social channels, this will be a lifesaver for you with a little bit of setup and a expense of not only time, but then resources. I think they allow up to 3 to be part of the free plan. I don't know if that's still for not-for-profits and for-profits or if that's changed, but as you can see here, I've got 5 different profiles, all for JRS Marcom, 4 for JRS Marcom, 1 for Joe Skibbie. And I can just create content, download video, image, and then post now or schedule. So as you can imagine, the way I'm talking with each week of a month or 1 week out of 4 months, you plan to do your posting. Then if it's 5 or 10 a week, then you're rolling through and doing all of that in one effort. It's not come up with something new, post it, come up with something new the next day, record a video, edit a video, post it. It's content is written, graphics are evolved, now we schedule posting, and it's an incredible time saver. And then they aggregate the reporting across the different channels. So you can pull a aggregate report for each of the different media. And again, we're here on Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, and Twitter. And I believe they also allow TikTok. I'm not sure of any of the other ones. Most of our clients aren't engaged in all 5 of those. So again, we're not an expert in Hootsuite. Hootsuite is a tool that we use to distribute the content that we create to drive the results for our clients. So you don't have to be an expert in it either. It's just something that's used to be able to save time and resource. All right, I mentioned Cision a couple times. Cision is it's the PR tool that's used by all major public relations firms. We take it with a twist and utilize it for backlinking, outreach, and earned media opportunities. So earned media is anything that someone takes your content and publishes it for free. And again, if we're still thinking traditionally around local print media, then there's so many other opportunities. All print media now have an online forum. There are influencers that are steering purchase behavior in your industry, regardless of what it is. There's podcasters that talk day and night about your product, service, or industry. And then there's blogs dedicated to those brand, service, or product as well. So Cision really allows for the streamlining of that outreach. And what would have been a manual process with a phone call and a list creation to add the right contact within every organization that would then have to be updated quarterly or semi-annually is now handled by a software provider. This is an invaluable tool that has gotten us everything from your community newspaper to Forbes technology publication. And the goal isn't to necessarily be on topic, on point for all media placements. Maybe you're going to talk about your entrepreneurial journey. Maybe you have a family held business. Maybe that's what you're going to talk about. But to be able to get in front of different audiences online, have a chance to link back to your website, not only builds your analog authority, right, where people are aware of you and know that you're able to speak on these topics, but it expands your digital footprint so that those backlinks are really like popularity votes for your website. So definitely product and service expertise, but then anything related to your experience is going to give you that authentic connection with your clients. And again, this Cision is a tool that allows you to streamline that effort. You can pull media lists based on interest or industry, and then you can distribute those as well as manage any follow-up conversations directly in the tool. And the biggest piece of that is building the list and maintaining the list, and Cision manages that as well. And they also provide reporting for analysis. All right, so SEMrush, Ahrefs, Moz, Screaming Frog, all crazy names for SEO rank monitors. These are the tools that monitor the over 200 individual ranking factors for search engine optimization. If you want to get to the top of the page for, donuts near me, there's going to be a cost to that, but there's also going to be a benefit. You're going to drive more revenue to your store or online e-commerce application, and you're going to sell more donuts, right? So that's why you would pursue something like this. The other benefit is strategically, you don't want to continually rely on paid advertising to be your sole source of revenue generation. Over time, that investment will increase. We've seen that with doubling and tripling of costs per click for particular terms, and it really puts small business owners in particular in a bind because they don't have 2x and 3x to spend on those initiatives. And now the money that they should have been funneling a percentage of towards organic search engine optimization is lost and they're behind. So again, right here, we're looking at tree care, advanced tree care, advanced tree service, and then branded advanced tree care. There are keywords for your business. And again, that would be a piece to fill out in the project strategy map. You can go to Google Ads. Anyone with a Gmail can get in and use the keyword planner to understand, I think it's this phrase or phraseology. I think it's this, and you can do research on what those terms are for your business. For us, again, is it marketing agency for small business? Is it content creators? Is it entrepreneurial marketing solutions? We can understand what are the actual terms. And as you can see, you get the current position of your website once you set up tracking in SEMrush, then you get the volume and then percent of traffic driven from those terms. The other side, the other graph here is backlink analytics. So this gives you the number of referring domains. And every domain, yours included, has a domain authority score. Obviously, the higher the score, the more difficult the backlink, but the more prestigious and the more authority that gives digitally. So a lot of this is very similar, if you indulge me here, in parallel to an analog business development plan. Perhaps you open a small business downtown. Now you're going to join the Chamber of Commerce and you're going to attend some chamber lunches, maybe a couple seminars. You're going to meet a BNI member. You're going to go to that group. Over time, you're building authority in an analog and in a tangible world. We have to do that similarly digitally. You don't just open a brick and mortar and people flood in. You also don't just launch a website and have people visit. You need to be getting published in trade journals. You need to be managing your profiles in membership organizations. You need to be reaching out on social, advocating for your product and service. That's how you build rank and build authority through digital channels. We look at it more as online community building. And maybe your goal isn't to be first on page, or maybe it's not possible to compete against a regional, national, or international player for that term. But you can be building a community online of your existing customers. You can use lookalike audiences for paid ads. You can be engaging in groups to answer questions and provide value, as well as the analog networking activities that are all part of our day-to-day. So again, SEMrush is the tool that we use for keyword tracking, additional traffic analysis, measurement of domain authority, and also tracking the backlinks. And if overwhelmingly the profile here is 0 to 20, maybe there's some negative backlinks in there that we want to look at those domains and remove them. All right. So e-notice. I remember years ago people talking about I don't want to send somebody emails. I don't want to offend them. I don't want to do more damage than good. Well, if you've ever checked your spam notice and realized you're getting a daily ad from the last person you bought clothes from, you understand that that's really not manifested itself as an issue. I can unsubscribe at any time, and oftentimes that's, again, part of our funnel is building that email list so that we get more people, maybe not just to purchase, but so that we're communicating to more people because they're not in market for our product or service now. But we send a monthly newsletter or a bi-monthly newsletter, and hey, in 3 months they are, and we've been in front of them that many times. That speaks to the consistency. You talk about messaging, right? They're getting an email with a service attribute. They're seeing that service attribute on social. They're visiting our website and absorbing content that continues to advocate for that service. And it just builds on itself towards that frequency, reach, and duration message. There's a bunch of tools: Constant Contact, MailChimp, Active Campaign, Magnet Mail. You're going to get some design factors. They're going to track mostly the same information. Again, we use Magnet Mail for our clients. We can brand it exclusively, remove any of the provider details, and you get, not only sent and delivered, but opened. And then more importantly, it tells you who clicks. So then you can tell which content people are actually engaging with, and that can help shape future editorial. So as you get this list built out, it's important to use it to be able to dictate what content you should be writing. This is kind of a focus group, a digital focus group that you can use to your benefit. And again, understanding who's clicking, where they're clicking, and why, potentially generating follow-up messages. We've used this e-notices successfully for any deadline-oriented event. Okay, we saw that you clicked on our $5 discount, but you still haven't registered. It's 2 days before the event. Let's send out a message to that audience and give them a $7 discount, or give them a discount next year if they register. So there's ways to really drive user behavior through the use of email. All right. Again, team of one. Joe, you're giving me more tools that I now have to learn. I don't have the time to execute my daily tasks. How am I going to incorporate that? We talked about scheduling, time management, and some time blocking. This is a framework that we use for any event or campaign that we're building out with clients. So looking at an 8-week lead time, right? If we're doing an event promotion, if we're doing a sales campaign, if we're having a grand opening, we want to have that 8-week lead time to build up that frequency, reach, and duration. And again, these timelines are flexible. I just wanted to show you kind of between administrative media and social media, what are the different tasks that you might have to execute. And again, early on in the process, you got to get all the administrative right with the event details, graphics on social, blog articles and landing page built. Then potentially you're looking at a press release distribution every 2 weeks, continuous social posting, not only on the event, but if you don't want to get tuned out, you'll mix in some product and service advocacy along with your event posting. E-notice incorporation again on a frequency schedule. Are you going to do any printed postcards? Are you going to hand those out at the analog networking events that you go to? Or are you going to use your database of contacts and send out an actual direct mail piece? We've seen, as part of a successful integrated marketing campaign, direct mail is adding to the touch points and actually impacting campaigns successfully. Paid social or programmatic, social being in the individual social media themselves, programmatic being across web and app networks. So somebody's playing Words with Friends and your ad is going to populate in that tool or any other app that's sold on the Apple or Android market. Those are very inexpensive early campaign touch points. Personal invites, right? You and your team, is it in your email signature? Are you sending out or contacting people directly to invite them? Can't underestimate guerrilla marketing as a way to pad some stats. Again, on groups, there's 10 or 12 Chicagoland and Northwest Indiana business groups that we post this event in. And then after the event, have you sent a thank you? Do you follow up with your next event? And then is there any media to edit and distribute if it's an in-person event? So again, this framework can be used for a number of different activities, manages the time management and time blocking, and allows you to hopefully add to the workload, but understanding your capacity and not expanding beyond it. We always want to know our strengths. And again, as a team of one, maybe we're not doers, maybe we're spenders, and we're looking at who's going to, create those graphics, who's going to write the article, who's going to distribute it. And then we're going to sit back at a management capacity and look at the reports and make sure all of those activities are being successful. So earlier in the presentation, I shared a basic marketing funnel, talked a little bit about the back end, but as you can start to see, the things that we can track, the activities that drive this top end or top of funnel awareness traffic, and then how we get into post customer repeat purchases as well as brand advocacy. One of the things that all small business owners or small marketing teams have the obligation of is it's no longer just a business card. Now it's no longer a business card and a trifold. It's no longer a business card, a trifold, and a sales sheet, right? Now we need those as well as a website that's frequently updated with relevant content. We need social media that we're building and sharing content with across our product and service lines, as well as any upcoming events. And then even more so is now we need video, because video is so expansive and the consumption rates are so high. It's going to be mandatory for really all businesses to have video in order to compete. So you can see creating general awareness, we can be paying for that through online ads. We can be hijacking news events and trends that are relevant for our business. Again, we can all sit and hijack negativity and drive engagement, but that's not authentic potentially, and that's also going to do damage to our brand. So we want to make sure that those news events that we're incorporating into our commentary relate to our business. Storytelling posts, again, are great for the vertical content I referenced. Go live on stories, share that you're having a rough day, tell people what a day in the life of your sales team looks like, or document an event as it's happening. Be exciting. You've got to be able to capture that eye. You have to be able to stop the thumb. And that's just at the base level, right? Again, short videos are great for that. Is your, again, website optimized? How is somebody going to find you if they're in market and considering a purchase? Do you walk them through what that journey looks like with blogs, how-tos, and video tutorials? And then successful customer stories. I used product X and it changed my life, right? That is, there's no more powerful message than that. Your team can talk all day about how great you are, but they have a customer tell it. Now, as they're evaluating whether or not to buy your service or product, somebody else is convincing them, not you. Again, all that, and they still haven't become a lead yet, right? So have they been to the website? Have they been frequently? Have they pulled you into their feed and liked you on social media? Have they subscribed to your newsletter to get additional content? Have they filled out a form at an event, conference, or expo? Now they're a lead. Now it really gets powerful because we can use that data to communicate with them frequently through e-notice. We can use lookalike audiences on social media and paid advertising, and we can really stay in front of them. We've all seen this as we like an Instagram post, close out a cart without purchasing, or any number of online activities. And then the minute we open our phone next time, that ad is following us. That's remarketing and retargeting, and again, should be a part of any advanced digital strategy. All right, so you've gotten them there, you've gotten the sales offer, potentially they've purchased. Now what? Well, now they're on your email. Invite them to do a testimonial, give them a repeat purchase discount, and or create user-generated contests or connect with viral influencers. Now there's some advocacy around your brand that, again, is happening outside of your management. So that, again, is tactics that we use. It's not necessarily a path to freedom for a marketing team of one, but I hope it provides some level of direction in terms of starting with strategy, incorporating these tools, and determining if we're going to handle these tasks internally or look at outside vendors, so that you can expand the focus of what your team is accomplishing, and you can step back as a business owner or as a marketing director and look at it as a managerial task instead of a action-based to do.
I have a question for you.
Yeah, let me pause that, of course.
So is there a platform to manage all of this software?
That's a good question. There are ways to integrate multiple softwares and tools that will mimic all of these softwares. But for a majority of our clients and even ourselves, it's cost prohibitive. So the individual investments, you're looking at a couple $100 a month per tool. And again, we didn't even include, Getty images where we're sourcing, or some of the other tools we use for content creation, but not that I'm aware of. This is where the recipe becomes a little bit of secret sauce. Like, everybody might be potentially handling these tasks on a day-to-day basis. Like, our implementation of them is where the recipe changes and magic is made, so to speak.
So it's just finding the right software that fits your business.
Yeah, and all of these tools have competitors, right?
Sure.
So I mentioned WordPress has Wix, Weebly, Squarespace. I mentioned with SEMrush, there's Ahref, Moz, and then Screaming Frog. These are just the ones that we've selected and used. Constant Contact, MailChimp, Magnet Mail.
Sure.
Definitely.
Thank you.
Yeah, good question. Thank you. I'm going to run this and then we'll open it up for questions. I didn't share sound, did I? Oh, I'm going to stop that. Stop sharing. We share just because it's better with sound. All right, guys, we'll open it up to questions. Again, my two goals with this presentation are to value your time and make sure that your needs are met, and then answer any specific questions that you have with the time available. So I've blocked a half hour for Q&A, and I'm willing to stick around as long as you guys are. So let me know what questions you have. All right, nobody wants to be the first. So what I'll do is, oh, is Judith jumping in?
I was. Hi, Joe.
Hey, what's going on, Judith?
I have a question, and it's an age-old question, and I don't know if you have an answer, but I'm going to ask it.
Sure.
Is there any way to keep your email from going to spam or to the promotional in people's email?
So there are different steps for the CAN-SPAM Act compliance that most, if not all, of the software that I referenced manage on your behalf, right? That's the benefit of using a tool, is that if someone has submitted their email and you're providing documentation for when and how they joined your list, then they should be whitelisted. And then if not, or if that has happened and then the email goes to spam for that individual email recipient, it is most likely because they either unsubscribed or marked it as spam.
Okay.
And that's, so email list solicitation is an ongoing marketing activity, right? We don't ever stop. We don't ever say, organic data capture should really be a primary goal of any marketing activity, whether it's analog, digital. How am I getting someone to give me their name, address, phone, and email so that I can continue the conversation? So when we think about a funnel, the most amount of people coming in up top, not everybody is going to give you that trust and invite you into the conversation. Someone that gives you that contact information, you're going to want to be able to provide, again, value, answer their questions. And at some point, they're just not in market for your product anymore. So you would assume they fall off. Or, if you're talking about award-winning customer service or best-in-class product or service offering, then they're going to want to tell their friends. And that's where you get into that advocacy piece on the second to last slide.
All right. Thank you. Appreciate it.
Question, yeah. So I know we've got a lot of small business owners here. Would everybody be okay with offering a 30-second intro? Typically, we start presentations with that, but I know we were a couple minutes late due to some last-minute registrants. Anybody comfortable jumping in, or I can assign? Everybody's still on, so either they're making a sandwich or they're waiting for the gem of conversation to pop. Anne's showing video. She wants to jump in.
Hi, I'm Ann Clevin. I work for a small bank in the city of Chicago, and I'm a communications manager, and I recently started, so I appreciate hearing all of your ideas and tactics to gain more customers.
Fantastic, Ann. Thanks for coming today.
Yeah, thanks for hosting that.
Kristen, are you available for an intro? Brian? Go through the list there. Thanks for joining us this morning.
Hello, everybody. My name is Brian Davidson. I have a company called Expect. I provide professional accounting and advisory services to small and mid-sized businesses in the Chicagoland area, but I also have a few out-of-state accounts as well. So thanks, Joe, for the presentation, and nice to meet everyone.
Fantastic. Thanks for joining us this morning, Brian. All right, looks like Josh, are you available?
Yes, I'm available. Good morning,
Fantastic.
everyone. I'm Josh Young. I have a property management company in North Texas. Met Joe several years ago, and property management and renovation. And I have a history in marketing, so this has a particular interest to me. Thank you, Joe.
Fantastic. Thanks for joining us. Thanks for your questions this morning. Judith, I know you had a question. You want to jump in and intro?
Hi, everyone. I am Judith Donor. I am with North Park University in the northwest side of Chicago, as well as an Arlington Heights chamber member. And that's how I've connected with Joe. And we're doing a small best business practice center. And I think that having a marketing team of one is common for a lot of the people who we are looking at. And I appreciate your knowledge, Joe, and sharing your presentation with all of us. Thank you.
I appreciate your time, Judith. Thanks. Thank you all for coming. And again, there's no magic bullet or silver bullet, right? It's I talk a lot about consistency, and that's probably the biggest challenge for all of us as a team of one. And what led to our growth as a small business to be able to still market on behalf of ourselves while we're executing campaigns for clients. I couldn't be out actively selling marketing campaigns if we weren't actively executing one like this for ourselves. So again, a lot of it as a team of one boils down to time management. And are you the doer, the manager, or the executor? And those obviously are internal decisions, but once you make that decision, we're more than happy to help. And what I would offer is if any of you that we're not working with that is considering marketing initiatives and you want to bring us into a conversation, again, the coffee's on me, the ideas are free. We like to at least share, why investing in reputation management, if your website isn't top notch, isn't the best, or investing in a video may not be the wisest use of funds when you have to build your audience that's going to distribute and see that. So be able to prioritize some things and give you another perspective when those decisions come up. All right, well, I'm happy to stick around for any specific questions. I want to be mindful of your guys' time, but I'm happy again to talk marketing all day long. Trying to think. We are again looking at this 8-week framework as we look to update our website. We're in the middle of the first wave of development. We have our sitemap, our copy and image selection is now on the desk of developer. We've gotten initial designs for all the pages. We should be looking to those. So we're going to start communicating that here in the short term. And again, a press release on a small business launch of a redesigned website. We're not grandiose. We don't think that's going to make the NBC news, but it's content that's being distributed. So you might say, is that effort worth the investment of time and resource? Well, absolutely, because somebody somewhere will pick that up, even if it's just a news aggregator. And now we have a backlink, and those backlinks again are tracked. And you want to continue when you're monitoring over 200 factors. You want to be putting out quality content across all of them and measuring. But again, is a $10,000 video versus a $2,000 video going to distribute further based on your existing audience? You kind of have to take all those factors in. And for us, that website, again, we're going to create content. We're going to put it on our blog. We're going to distribute to our local media throughout the 294 corridor. And then we're going to email that to our clients. So that's one piece of content that's in 4 or 5 different places. So that investment, of course, is worth it to get in front of that many eyeballs. And, somebody who's considering working with us might want to see what our process looks like. And then for clients that go through similar work, we usually launch a small businesses doing big things article with a similar distribution. Again, our blog, our newsletter, our social media channels. Hopefully the partner client would put that on their website as well. All of these things lead to the, it's +1. If this marketing initiative leads to +1, and there's one more person at my event or one more person that buys a product, all of those +1s should add up to a successful marketing campaign. And that's where we don't look for the silver bullet. We look for the best tactics to get the message out as broadly as possible. Again, with targeting of your client persona into effect, and ultimately with paid advertising to further amplify that message. And again, it's not just, hi guys, I'll keep talking. It's not just, go ahead, Judith.
So I have a question. The worksheet that you referred to at the beginning,
Yeah.
Is that something that you and your company would work with your client and go through to help build and, make sure that they were on the right track with that? Is that something that you do?
Yeah. So, in all transparency, Brian and I worked together at Expect, and we filled out this project strategy map and then reviewed it together, making sure that his geographic goals, that his keyword metrics were laid out effectively. And again, it's a map. So it tells us we're going on the right path throughout the duration of the engagement, and ultimately lets us know as we report and analyze whether we're missing the target, whether we're hitting the target, or whether there need to be changes made. So again, quickly, I'll run through the components of this. Keywords, again, if we're talking about SEO, we're talking about keywords. If somebody's going to search for a product or service, they're going to use a particular terminology. One kind of landmine that we ran into with the credit card processors, they said up and down, we're merchant services providers. Everybody knows us as merchant services providers. That's what we offer. And there wasn't any search volume around merchant services providers. So we could have very easily built them a site and ranked first for merchant services providers because it's a low competition environment. Nobody's building for that term. But what they were using was payments, right? I'm a customer. I want to know how to accept payments. I want to know where can I get a connection with someone to help me accept credit card payments, right? It was very simple. So we see this a lot. Entrepreneurs, small business owners, directors of marketing, they're in their business and they're not going out to the community. And again, focus groups are prohibitively expensive, but the Google Keyword Planner is free. There's no reason not to use it and see where the search volume is in your particular industry. Again, geography, nationwide, regional, or local, down to the zip code. We can geofence, which is draw a perimeter around a location to within 600 feet. So that can be, let's say you're at a small business conference and you're a small business banker. You can draw a fence digitally, so everybody's phone within that fence will get your high return small business checking information in their smartphone ads. So very powerful in terms of operating geography. Ranking, for Schaumburg, Illinois might be different than ranking for Dallas, Texas, and understanding what meta description changes and changes to your keyword strategy need to be within that are a success factor. Again, business description. This goes back to name, address, and phone consistency. So in every profile, social media, Chamber of Commerce, yellowpages.com, there is a business description, right? And maybe today I had a cup of coffee, so I'm really high up on our business, and we write a glowing review. And then the next, it's 3 p.m. and I'm at the end of my day and it's not so glowing. And why wouldn't you just have a description and copy and paste that in? It seems simple, but again, and not only does it save time, but you don't get the benefit of the +1 on that second listing if those descriptions don't match. That's what name, address, and phone consistency is. I'm saying I'm the same thing at the same location, doing the same services across the web, right? And that's where, a web crawler for Google or Bing, they can't necessarily say this is a great website, but they can say, here's the content that the developer left for me to know what this website is and what it does. Products and services offered. Oftentimes, there's a manual or a catalog of services. We don't necessarily want to feature all of those, but maybe you're focused on the Japanese business acquisition service versus annual tax completion. We want to understand that difference and be able to prioritize the activities in our marketing packages. Local competition, what is it? Imitation is the sincerest form of flattery, right? You get to a point on your Google My Business profile and you're, check across the line. You're doing the same thing as your competitor, but now they're above you. Looking at their profile, understanding what's different, understanding that they have 5 more reviews or they get more phone traffic because of this. That's beneficial. To understand who those local competitors are is important. Goals and goal measurement. Again, why are we doing this? What is the focus of this campaign? If you don't know that to begin with, we can't be successful. And if you don't understand it as a small business owner, director of marketing, or entrepreneur, then you surely can't be successful either. So that's some of the most important things. And then how we measure. We talked about analytics. We talked about social reporting through Hootsuite, and then the SEMrush tracking as well. Which social media we're going to be on and our social bookmarking sites. And then this is the client persona, the social media map. Who are we trying to engage with? Where are they geographically? What profession do they have? Do they drive a particular car? Do they listen to a certain radio station, et cetera? And then the editorial calendar, what are we writing? When will it be posted? And then, sitemap if we're working on a web development project. So, you can imagine, I guess this is 3-page fillable, I said 2, but oftentimes this turns into a 20-page document by the time we're done rolling through for customers. And this is part of, to answer your question 10 minutes later, sorry, this is part of our commencement that we do with any of our social or search engagements.
Yeah, thank you. I think that's really helpful to see what the planning process would be and what you could provide everyone. I think this is wonderful. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. And again, you think how your search behavior rolls out, and it's very specific. I'm searching for red pants. I'm not searching, for Kohl's, men's, pants, shorts, whatever it is. Very specific. So if you're not hyper specific in your intent with the content that's rolled out, you're not going to gain authority, which I referenced, for those particular terms that drive revenue for your business. All right, guys. If you don't have any additional questions, I'm going to jump off. Again, I'm happy to stick around. But I hope my 2 goals were met, that the time was well spent and you guys learned something that you could take into your day. And again, I'm available. I'm available for any questions via email.
Thanks,
All right, guys.
Joe.
Enjoy the rest
Bye.
of your day. Thanks for your time.
Bye.
Thank you.
Thanks, Joe. Good to see you.